Hey, welcome, welcome, Njabulo.
How are you, Fahad?
I'm
Thank you
good.
very
How are
much.
you?
I'm all
Yeah,
good on my side. Thank you very much for having me.
yeah, it's a pleasure having you. I know that it took a little while to
Yeah,
to get
no,
to do the interview that was supposed to happen last week, but you made it happen this week. I really
definitely.
appreciate it.
I
Yeah,
appreciate the
so yeah,
opportunity as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait to dive into the interview and learning more about what you're building, a powerful story, a powerful platform that you're building for African businesses and consumers. And without further ado, I will let you introduce yourself. You know who you are and what you do, and where you're
okay.
best.
Not a problem. Thank you very much once again, Fahad. As you've mentioned, my name is Njabulo Makhathini. I'm a technology entrepreneur who is based in Joburg, South Africa. And I'm also co-founder of AirBuy, which I co-found with a friend of mine, Kubo. And simply what we do at AirBuy is we enable e-commerce platforms to accept payments from users who also don't feel comfortable with using their bank details, or those who are unbanked. Those are two markets that we sort of focusing on. So we enable normal South Africans, ordinary South Africans, and Africans to be able to buy online without the need of exposing the bank details or the need of using their cards. That's us in a
Awesome,
nutshell.
awesome. Yeah, that is a great solution. I know that every time I'm in Africa. Back home in Rwanda and want to buy online, or you have to have a card to use. But even like a typical, African
Yeah,
doesn't have those Visa cards. Very
yeah,
few people do. So
yeah,
I'm excited to hear what you're building and the solution it's going to bring and how it's going to drive commerce in Africa.
yeah,
And help e-commerce entrepreneurs and consumers to access products they want faster and be able to make those online payments. Yeah. So
definitely.
how did the company start? Like, what inspired you to start Airbuy?
Wow. So what simply inspired us, I think, it's our own story. I remember Tsapang, my co-founder, usually spoke about how hectic it is to actually sort of buy online. He was a student back in those days, so it was very much difficult because he didn't have like a credit card. And I think at that point, even debit cards were not also allowed when you sort of want to consume online. So it was a hectic mission, And as you know, South Africa has like two folds of people who are living there. There's those that living nicely and comfortably, and who have exposure to certain benefits and everything like that, which is a minority. And then there is the rest of us, that is the middle class and the lower LSM group. So I think once we sort of zoomed in into the problem of like e-commerce and buying online, that's when we properly discovered that it's only just a small group that are properly running on consuming online and trading stuff online and everything like that. I think even when we started zooming on the market research as far as like online stores and stuff, that's when we found out that there's actually not many online stores, as far as especially the medium size and the smaller business. And we also discovered that the guys who are in that category, who have online stores, they pretty much are not doing well, because there's still a lot of work that needs to be done within those brackets. So I think from discovering that and having conversations about that problem. So we got accepted into one bootcamp that is done by the MIT University, which is which is a global-wide program called MIT GSL, that they do in every province, in every country. So with that said, we did apply and we were accepted there. And as part of the programs, we sort of took this problem to sort of as the idea that we're gonna execute everything we taught in the boot camp and stuff. So even after the boot camp, I think we sort of had an idea in terms of the fact that we are really onto something which is a serious problem, not only in South Africa, but in Africa as a whole. And I think over the years, we've actually got to understand better the market that we building this for, as well as the kind of problem that we are solving. Because I think when we started out, it just seemed like a cool idea. It seemed like just a very exciting idea. Thought that it was just going to be easy. We're going to launch tomorrow and everything is just going to happen. But it was a journey that sort of led us to sort of master the space that we're in.
Awesome. Okay, so so you went to the competition and then to MIT, the competition that's organized by MIT. So you became the winner, right?
Yes. So
they give you like startup capital, like seed fund to kick off your idea?
Not really. Actually, there was not any sort of prize money that came together with that program. I think it came with, just access to office space that we could sort of develop the program further for that and stuff. So we sort of took that opportunity to
Okay, so did you have the skills to actually kick it off? Like, did you have engineering background, coding, all the skills that you needed to build the first product?
So, interestingly enough, I think none of us had any idea in terms of what it was actually going to take. We were fortunate enough, the fact that the four guys that I was working with at that time, which is my co-founder as well as Kabelo and Sibonelo, they were vets graduates. Tshepang and Kabelo were graduates within the space of IT and coding and everything of that sort. So those skills came quite handy. But as you know, I think given the speed that this tech space is growing in, varsities are not delivering the right tools or teaching these graduates the right tools they need to be able to execute the stuff. So most of the stuff I think that they learned during the building Airbuy. Most of the stuff that they were taught in school, sort of, yes, they did apply and provide like the groundworks, but I think they learned a lot of stuff on the road by just trying to solve this problem, by trying to build this plugin, by trying to solve that code. It was pretty much that. I think everyone around the table, we sort of had a fair share of learning a lot of things as we went.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So I'm reading here your recent post on LinkedIn. Like, we came a long way from Airbuy SA winning the Massachusetts Institute of Technology as an idea, GSL in 2016 as an idea, to a fintech company that is growing daily and impacting lives. Trust the process. So you've become a fintech company from just a cool idea. Now a fintech company that's creating an impact, right? That's growing. Tell us how the journey has been for you, to grow from just an idea to where you are now. Like, what has been the process? What are the things you've learned, the challenges, and maybe, where you are at right now?
No, definitely. I mean, I'm just going to take from the answer that I gave on the previous question. I think another reality is the fact that we were new, especially in the payment space, right? None of us had, if you check some of the co-founder that you engage who are in the payment space, it's either they'll be coming from a banking background or they coming from another tech startup that is focused on the payment, but none of us had any sort of background within the payment space. Even myself, with my previous startup, it was not within the space. It was more in the green technology. So that on its own was a journey on its own, and we sort of had to learn a lot at quite a rapid pace. So that on its own, we had to learn a lot. We had to familiarize ourselves with everything related to this, whether, especially, I think one thing that is very critical when you're talking payments is the regulations. So we had to ensure that we understood the frameworks from the continent as a whole to how they affect regulations as well in South Africa. So it was pretty much an interesting journey. It was definitely never easy. There was also a lot of pivoting within the journey. So it was very, very interesting. And I think also what kept us going was, if anything, because we knew and understood that the problem that we are trying to solve is a real one. And not only a real one, it's also a big one, a big problem that is not only limited to South Africa. So if anything, that kept us going, because we've had a lot of doors shut on our faces. We've had a lot of situations where we've invested a lot of ourselves, we've invested a lot of our time, we've invested a lot of our money into pushing this and sort of making it work. There were a lot of instances where we sort of felt like giving up, because if anything, there's a lot of people who sort of told us that there really much isn't a problem in the space that you're focusing on, and you sort of have to grow to a point to be able to understand that even if gurus in your industry are telling you that, but because they don't know your story, they don't know where you come from. I mean, I think it's always a blessing if, as a founder, the solution that you are working on, you are also the market itself. So what we're doing with Airbuy, we're not building it for a market that is not ourselves or people that we live with on a daily, or problems that we experience on a daily. So it makes it easier for us to know that even if someone who maybe might be from a different demographics can look at it and say that there's not much to go on in this space, but for you to keep pushing and understanding the fact that since you know the people and you live with the people that are suffering from this problem on a daily, and so that you know that you can actually do something about it and impact their lives. I think that's also one thing that we experienced during this lockdown, is the people that we designed it for were the ones that were enabled to actually buy online for the first time. And if they didn't trust anyone else or anything else besides paying online using Airbuy. So for us, that went a long way as far as validating. That went a long way as far as understanding the level of impact that we are having in people's lives. Because I think the lockdown and the COVID-19 sort of has exposed a lot of realities that never used to exist like a year ago or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that is amazing. What you've built and the solution you've brought to the marketplace. I do believe that with enabling businesses to accept those payments online, it's going to boost commerce, right? And also it's going to help a lot of people who wouldn't otherwise, buy online, who don't have cards or who don't even want to put their bank information online because of security issues. They wouldn't do that, right? Which hinders the entire business, the entire commerce industry. So what you're building is awesome. Keep it up, keep pushing. Do it in South Africa and also in other markets. I actually try to use your product a little bit to sign up, and the process was very, very easy. And so let's talk about, so you talked about how the lockdown, kind of validated what you were working on, like proved that your solution is really needed in the marketplace, right? Because people are at home, they can go to the malls, they can go to the markets. So they want to buy products and they want them delivered, right? So tell us how Airbuy has been facilitating that user that process of buying online for like a typical user who doesn't want to put their bank information on a website.
No, definitely. I mean, yeah. So we found ourselves from the beginning of somewhere around March, where in South Africa officially we went to lockdown in level 5, and I think it's been really interesting because now the market that we catering for, the market we're facing on, we focusing on, which is mostly the middle class and the lower income group. Those are the people that traditionally they happy with buying at a physical store. They don't have a problem with it. They don't mind queuing. They just use it. It works for them, you know. And
Yeah.
but now during lockdown, those were the people who were forced to adapt. Those were the people who were forced to learn to buy online for the very first time. So it was a very interesting chapter in the season that we went through. And if anything, all service providers, if anything, around e-commerce had the responsibility to help those people during that transition. So I think we ensured that we communicate our solution as much as we could with the e-commerce stores that we are working with. And I think it was interesting because we saw a lot of people who traditionally wouldn't be buying online deciding to buy online, and when it's time to pay, then that's when the normal feelings that have been sort of the normal insecurities that have been causing them not to be to consider buying online, that's where they would kick in. And with the online stores that have partnered with us, a lot of feedback that we got was the fact that a lot of people actually did the sale when they saw that with Airbuy they can do so without using their cards and stuff, you know, because most of them, it was their first time buying online ever. So it was the first time they also see like all the other payment options and stuff like that. But they felt more comfortable with buying using Airbuy, because there is still, you know, with what's interesting about South Africa is the fact that outside infrastructure issues, there's still a huge perception issue that is a problem. You know, the guys that are not buying online, it's not the fact that they're not exposed to they don't have access to the infrastructure that will allow them to buy online. But the guys that are not buying online, they're not buying online because also another adding element to it is the perception issue. People just think scam when they think buying online. You know, there's a lot of people who have all the advanced infrastructure you can sort of consider. They learn it.
Yeah.
I mean, we found that from the demographics of our market that there's also that market that is that is very much advanced with anything else, but still they wouldn't consider buying online using their cards because they've heard the stories. I mean, just 2 weeks back they announced that the hackers got a hold of a large database of South Africans. So every time they hear stories like those, even the guys that are already buying online, they sort of feel a bit nervous and stuff. Yeah. Usually a drop of people buying online and everything of that sort. So quite an interesting time for us when especially for us ushering those people who had never sort of bought online for the first time and actually seeing them buy online. I mean, there's one case study of another kid from the Val in Gauteng who was not only buying online for the first time, but the whole family was excited for that purchase. They were all waiting to see if this actually
it's real.
Yeah,
is it real?
Is he not gonna get scammed? Is he gonna get the product? So that case study alone gives you an idea of the entire majority of South Africans in terms of how much buying online is still a new thing to them. And it's definitely gonna take tools that relate with them. It's not going to take tools that have been around for a couple of years. It's going to take tools that are relevant to them and that speaks to their language. And if anything, that's what we are trying to position AirBuy as for those people.
Nice. That is perfect. So you're focusing more on the people who were the first time buyers who are buying online, right? And they're less susceptible of the of the the technology, right? They're like, oh, it sounds interesting. But then those people who've heard of scammers and hackers, right?
Yeah.
Who are scared of putting their information online. So first of all, people are not using their cards, right? So that's how you're going around that problem. And but still they don't want to put their phone number as well. So I know you're going to answer this, but I want you to kind of like, for someone who doesn't know anything about it, just assume I don't know anything and I want to buy online. I don't know how, and I don't want to put my bank information, and I don't want to put my credit card information online. Okay, so I come to you, I want to buy. So what is the process that I have to go through, like steps that I go through for me to make a purchase?
Not a problem.
How is this secure? Also mention that.
Sorry?
Thank you. And also please tell us how it's secure, how I'm safe, right?
Not
doing
a problem.
That. Yeah.
Not a problem. So how it simply works is that when someone registers on the Airbuy platform, as you have done, thank you very much for registering. We really honor every sign up, trust you me. So someone will register, and once you've registered, as you've seen, you'll have a dashboard which will show you your wallet, your balance, the transaction history, and everything of that sort. So with that option in mind, someone will be able to top up their funds. They'll be able to top up their Airbuy wallet, right? So they can definitely do that using, for example, buying a recharge voucher at a local tech shop, or like a till point at these major retailers. Still finalizing a few things with options. Currently, the options that we've rolled out the solution with is the normal bank deposit or sort of bank transfer. But yeah, if anything, we're always trying to increase ways that someone can sort of top up to make it an easy use for the users. So once they've done that, they've registered, now they have funds on their account. So when they go to their favorite online store, click the products that they choose to buy. When they now get to the payment page, when they click paying, choosing to pay, there'll be the other options. But if they choose Airbuy, it'll just prompt them to just punch in their phone numbers. From that, they'll get like an OTP confirmation to sort of verify the purchase. Once that's done, then it will be complete, then pages will be made. In terms of security, we definitely, that's top priority with what we're doing. We're even using very advanced systems to ensure everything is secured. We are using Amazon's AWS. They have the best and the most secured tools for digital platform like ourselves. And secondly, adding to that, I think the space of mobile money, USSD, and so forth is the least in the world, the least most scammable sort of technology. I mean, with even the other players in the mobile money space, whether you're on M-Pesa and everything like that, from cases that we've sort of investigated, someone would have to sort of steal your phone or steal your number, find a way to transfer that number to sort of connect it to their name for them to sort of successfully be able to sort of steal whatever money that you have in that situation. So yeah, definitely security is our major priority.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I see how it kind of makes it easier to buy. So all you have to do is to have like Airbuy, whatever wallet, right? Account, and then add money to that wallet, and then use it on any website that is affiliated with you, that is using your payment gateway. Okay. That's awesome. That sounds easy enough. And
Yeah, so definitely, as you mentioned, we were, especially for this lockdown, focusing on the first time guys buying online. But I think it's not only just limited to that. I think during this lockdown, we knew that there was going to be a lot of people that are focusing on buying online for the first time. But we open to even guys that are already buying online. We open to even guys that have been buying comfortably using their cards. I mean, from the research that we continuously do, we actually engaged a lot of people who are not in that bracket that we're focusing on. Maybe they like the higher LSM, they using cards, they're using streaming services comfortably. They sort of did share, most of them did share that even though their ordinary lives involves a lot of buying online and they've gotten used to that, but it's still a very uncomfortable process every time you sort of have to sort of punch in your numbers. And especially since it sometimes gets tricky when you now want to go back to your bank and request a refund, and it's that process is very tiring, as they have shared as well. So yeah, but we're not only limiting it to guys that are buying online for the first time.
Nice. Great. So it sounds like a very interesting solution, and that's really needed in the African market especially. And so what is your competition, right? We know that there's like mobile money and M-Pesa, there's PayPal. So are those like your direct competition, or you're building something that they haven't really figured out?
So I think there's two folds when it comes to competition. As you know, there's definitely other providers within this place that we are in. Most of them are cards providers, and as well as I think the guys that also come in as more direct competition are the guys that are providing an alternative to cards. I mean, there's like your Zappers that sort of give you more of a QR code scanning instead of using normal punching in of your numbers and stuff. So those are mostly the guys that are sort of playing in our space and stuff. And then I think in South Africa, there's just not many of guys that we've had that are playing directly at our space. I know in Africa, Pesa has sort of, in the other parts of Africa, like especially Kenya, Pesa has quite a large footprint, and they also definitely trying to ensure that they also cater for the e-commerce space, I think, going forward and stuff. So yeah, definitely across Africa, we can definitely mention guys like M-Pesa, because I know that they've recently partnered with PayPal to sort of get into the online space and stuff. So, but I think also what is also quite significant with what we're doing this side is the market that we sort of are passionate about unlocking. Most of the time, no one sort of had focused on this market. It was very much underserviced. And I think we are sort of focusing all our energies on simplifying it for them, firstly, and then sort of giving them a platform where they can sort of adapt. That's why in everything we do, whether it's our communication and the tools we use, we always ensure that we simplify it for them. It could have been easy for us to do what we are doing with phenomenon such as Bitcoins, but if Bitcoin is gonna be another technology, it's gonna create other technology phobics again, then it's just gonna be another problem on another problem. So we're trying to simplify it for them and just unlocking that potential, because I think the more the more our people are able to buy online, that's the more our people are able to trade online, that's the more our business are able to grow and be international, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. It's an incredible solution that you're providing to both businesses and consumers. And okay, so for people who are listening and they're in other countries other than South Africa, are you also allowing them to use your services? Like people who are in, let's say, East Africa or other regions of Africa. Have you expanded to those markets as well?
We're definitely looking at expanding in the next few months or years. So they can definitely reach out to us. Another thing that we definitely open to is partnerships across the continent. So people can feel free to sort of interact with us, and let's share ideas, let's collaborate and stuff. But yeah, we'll definitely have our solution in other parts of Africa as well very soon. So, but for now, we're just focusing on just creating a base in South Africa, but we're also not much restricted or like restricting ourselves to South Africa. If we see a greater need elsewhere, we're very much flexible to sort of move and create another base that side as well. So yeah, we're very much open to collaborate. That's one thing that we believe in, collaboration. That's how Africa is going to grow. That's how Africa is gonna make things more easier for Africans.
Yeah. There you have it for people who are interested in partnering with Airbuy and bring some solution to their local markets. Definitely reach out. We'll share your information after on how people can reach you. But
thank you.
Yeah. So, okay. I guess I want to talk about if you got any support outside, like outside funding or any government grants or anything like that. What kind of funding did you get from outside your co-founders?
Okay. Yeah, no, man. I mean, I think we were sort of even joking about it, that we must write a book at one point about building a fintech startup without funding, because that's the hardest thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
So most of the work we pretty much bootstrap over the years and stuff. I think we only attracted an angel investor who sort of invested as seed funding, I think in 2019. But most of the work that we have done and continue doing, have been just from us doing side gigs on the side, coming back and investing it back into the business. I mean, we would sometimes incentivize users to use the product. We would incentivize businesses to sort of partner with us and educate their market, and would still do that from the funds that we raise from like side gigs and everything of that sort. But yeah, for the longest of time, I think it's been just bootstrapping and just focusing on the goal and doing what you have to keep the ship moving and everything of that sort. So I think it's only now that it's only last year when we sort of start raising seed, and I think where we are right now is we sort of preparing for like an investor roadshow, and so we're looking to raise a Series A. So yeah, that's the stage where we are, because I think we want to sort of have more impact, have a wider reach, and that's definitely going to need like some funding investment. Yeah,
that's awesome. So you've built the product for 4 years before you could get any outside investment. You didn't. It's not like you were looking for it. You were just focusing on the building the product. So bootstrapping and understanding your market, and also creating the best solution, right, for the problem. That's incredible, because a lot of people, they wait until they have an idea and they want someone to just invest in them right away. Why didn't you take that path?
Look, I think also with our journey as well, during the journey obviously would try there, whether it's a competition there, whether it's government grants there, but we've never really been fortunate to sort of secure anything along the journey. But I think with that said, we had to simply ask ourselves one thing. I remember we were having a chat with Tabang last year in terms of if we wouldn't get funding, would we stop what we're doing? Because you go to your client, they're excited about the solutions. They know how much it's gonna sort of improve their online platform, how much that's gonna open their online platform to new sort of users, to new customers and stuff like that. So as far as your clients are happy. They're happy with what you're doing. They're happy with the service that you're providing. So we sort of had to come to that point and we asked ourselves that if we'd find ourselves that whether we're not raising funds or we're not securing funding as soon as we had sort of hope would we stop, and I think the work that we continuously do on a daily basis is the answer to that question. We carry on signing up more business. We carry on impacting more people. We carry on introducing AirBuy to the new users and stuff like that. So because another thing, we also are not blind to the nature that Africa is, especially as far as this tech space is sort of concerned. Yes, it's not as new as it was maybe 3 years ago, but it's still sort of developing itself. So sometimes funding is not as available as it might seem to someone who's looking from the outside inside and stuff. So I think we're very much mindful to the ecosystem and studying it so that we understand for a fact what's actually going on, what's sort of taking long, what's the problem and everything of that sort. And usually I think the answers that we get there is understanding. They sort of give us the confidence that I think we're moving in the right direction. And if anything, also, as much as the entrepreneurship and the startup space is growing, the VC and the funding space has sort of has also been growing on its own. So we can't really blame the product for that. We can't really blame the jockey for that. It's just that type of growth that sort of needs to happen and moving in the right direction. I mean, I sort of saw a research that was conducted by the guys at Knife Capital and Grindstone. I think it was published sometime this week, and they mentioned the fact that most funders actually start securing in Africa, funding like around 4 years and stuff like that. And I think I was also a bit shocked because I thought maybe it was just us who sort of had like struggled this for a minute. So it was interesting.
I've had some guests that were talking about how when you pitch an idea like that, like tech, to like African investors, they will just laugh. They'll be like, "Oh, if it's not real estate, if it's not land or building houses, we're not gonna do it. We don't believe in those kind of things." And some people don't understand technology. So, like you were saying, some consumers never really use like online payments or bought anything online, or they don't even know it exists. Right? They think it's scamming. And investors too, they have to grow to get to that level where they see technology as an opportunity for them to invest in the innovative solutions rather than just like the only like the old school way of doing business, which was maybe just real estate or just building houses. But those jobs are not those kind of investments are not creating jobs as much as innovative solutions are, like new ways of solving problems can create more jobs, all right? Also, like lift up the economy. So for the ecosystems, like, okay, I'm not gonna compare Silicon Valley to Africa or South Africa, but I know South Africa is among the top countries that receive a lot of VC funding in Africa. So South Africa and Nigeria, right? That like 70% of the VC money goes to those two countries. So definitely, good luck on your journey, and hopefully you get some people who believe in you, who can invest in you. And also, since you're raising the first round, if people who are listening are investors, we'll share your information so that they can reach out to you. You're very responsive on LinkedIn. So hopefully we can see this across Africa and enable more people to do online shopping and participate in online commerce.
Definitely.
Great. So I guess while we're still on that topic, what kind of support do you need from the audience, the people who are listening? How can they support your business?
No, I think pretty much I think what we need support with is right now we're trying to expose this safe way of buying online to as much people as possible. So whether it's sharing it with a friend, whether it's sharing our like page, whether it's sharing our social media pages, or just subscribing to them as well, that's for us, that goes a long way. The more people we exposed, the more people we exposed to what we're doing and how it works, and the safety of it and stuff like that, it definitely goes a long way. So yeah, I think them just sharing what we're doing and sharing our story goes a long way. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So this question, I want to ask you a question, right? And then tell me. So if you were to receive $1 million, right now, like what would you do with it? Why would you invest in your business?
Well, definitely in the product. I think it would enable us to sort of accelerate the developments that we're doing at much a greater speed. I mean, we sort of are looking forward to launch a plugin for the mobile apps business, so that people are able to pay like on a delivery app or whatever sort of an app that sort of has some sort of in-app purchase. So yeah, it would definitely go, all of it would go to like development in terms of getting our solutions to as many platforms, so that it's more people are able to access it on almost every platform that they engage with when they buy online. So it definitely be, most of it go to development. That's I think technology, that's where most of the money goes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so we'll focus more on the thing that you've been focusing on, which is building a great product that solves the problem. And then for marketing, really, like once you're on as many platforms as possible, then people will find out about you through those platforms once they're making purchases, right?
Definitely.
And then obviously they'll have to also know that you exist. Right?
Definitely. Yeah, we've already had a lot of people that had never heard about us before, but they made a purchase because when they sort of hover their mouse next to us, they were able to see that they can actually make a purchase without a bank card. So they were willing to even just try it for the first time. So I'm just agreeing to what you're saying. It's definitely going to go a long way.
Yeah. And also to wrap up, what advice would you give to African young entrepreneurs who are hungry, who want to create their own companies, who want to create solutions to the problems they see in their communities, in their countries, on the continent? You've learned a lot of lessons for the past 4 years, and maybe you were also doing other ventures before that. What kind of advice would you give them that would help them succeed in the African market?
I think one thing that is always my mind these days, which I always find it funny, is the fact that as an entrepreneur in Africa, you're the superhero and the villain at the same time. But most likely, you're gonna start as a villain. So there's many factors that are going to make you a villain. Sometimes it's just the reality that you're the first one in your community to be crazy enough to think that they can do that. Sometimes is the fact that this so-called innovation you're talking about is so much not of a current reality to the people that you live around. So yeah, like you sort of going to be misunderstood for the longest of time, So I think my advice is just to stay in your lane and keep moving. And I think the same people that are going to see you as a villain are the same people that are gonna be celebrating you as a hero, which are the people that you're building it for at the end of the day. So I think that's, for me, that's the best advice. I think that sort of summarizes my journey.
Yeah, that's an incredible advice. Yeah. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about the naysayers, right? Because most of them will not believe in your dreams and the things that you want to do. But if you know you're solving a problem that you're passionate about and that it's going to create an impact, just keep going. I think you mentioned something about you chatting with your co-founders and asking yourself, if you don't get venture funding, if you're gonna keep doing what you're doing, right? And then you resolve that you're gonna keep doing it. I think that is a sweet spot, right? Like that's when you know you're solving a problem not just for you, but for the community,
Yeah.
uh, to create an impact, to create a bigger impact. You're solving it for the people, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're doing a disservice too, right?
Definitely.
Great. So yeah, thank you so much for that advice. And I think, can you also share how people can connect with you if they want to reach out?
Oh no, certainly. I think our website is Africa, and then my direct email address is Njabulo@Africa. They can also connect with us on our social media platforms, which is Airbuy SA, on all social media platforms, and we'll gladly respond to any queries or like requests to collaborate. We all about collaborations and working together, whether big or you small or you not even in the same industry. We all about collaborating.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Njabulo. It was definitely a pleasure to chat with you. You shared a lot of insights that will be an inspiration to a lot of people. Keep doing what you're doing. You're building an amazing product, solving a great problem. Don't stop, keep going, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having us, and all the best for this platform. I think this is what Africa needs.
Thank you. Yeah, we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep sharing stories of amazing African entrepreneurs like yourself. And hopefully, we can get more people involved in entrepreneurship and creating solutions to African problems. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll chat on the other side. All right.
Cool stuff.
All right. Thanks.